Welcome everyone, and thank you for attending our first webinar of Q2. My name is Caroline Nguyen, and I'm with the U.S. Channel Marketing at Kensington. I'm here with our doc guy, Matt Sumner, who will break down our training of Docking Station Trend Report Update. Got a doc question? He is your go-to guy. You can always reach him at docguy@kensington.com. Here's an overview of what Matt will cover today. He's going to be talking about current practices of IT buyers, supporting a diverse laptop environment, hot desking in the new workplace, purchasing criteria, and then it will lead to our Q&A session where we'll have our $100 Amazon cash prize to 3 attendees. And this could be you. All right, so that's it for me. I'm going to hand it over to the doc guy so he can get you guys started.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Matt Sumner here with Kensington, and appreciate you taking time out of your day to go over a couple things that we're seeing happening in the universal docking station space. As Caroline mentioned, we worked with Spiceworks to conduct a survey of 450 IT decision makers, just to kind of get a gauge, get a read on what's happening in the docking station space. A variety of different organizations were polled, so anywhere from an enterprise level organization to SMEs, just to really get a feel for what's happening in that space. You know, when we look at the docking station market just in general, 30% of the market, where we saw 30% universal market growth in 2017, while proprietary docks declined. A lot of that has to do with the changes that laptop manufacturers are putting forth in their devices. Laptops are getting thinner and smaller. The mechanical connectors are going away. The different ports and connections on the devices themselves are being eliminated to give us a thinner, smaller profile device that makes us more mobile. Really ties into the way that we're changing how we work and where we work. So really seeing some great changes in the industry, and with that shift, universal docking stations are on the rise, while we see the proprietary docking stations on the decline. I have a great quote here, just something that I like seeing, that one of the IT pros from the Spiceworks survey had come up with. Single cable solutions are much easier to work with versus a proprietary dock. You have one cable, you plug that into the side of your laptop, you have connectivity to all of your devices, your peripherals, your monitors, your Ethernet. Unlike with a proprietary dock or a mechanical style dock, you have to line up your laptop, make sure that gets connected, the amount of space it takes up. A universal docking station helps to change that and makes things a little bit more, a little bit simpler than what that proprietary dock has done. Docking stations really came about to provide a means of converting a laptop computer into a desktop. If you think about it, our laptop computers years ago, well, not even years ago, just a short time ago, used to be designed so that way they could replicate a desktop computer. They had all of the ports that you would need to connect everything. They had the video connectors. They also weighed 6-7 pounds and caused you to lean to one side as you're walking through the airport, or as you're traveling from a customer site to customer site, or heading in for a meeting. They're big and bulky and had all of these different things built into it that took up space on the device. But as I mentioned before, laptops are getting thinner, and the universal docking station and the need for docking is pivotal in today's environment and what we see coming in the future. Productivity, in order to maintain that level of productivity, you still have to have connection or connectivity to all of your devices. It's kind of like when you look at having multiple displays versus a single display or single screen. Your productivity is increased. Well, how do you do that with a laptop? How do you expand upon that and provide accessibility to a full-size keyboard that you know you'll type faster on when you're in the office, but obviously you still have your laptop keyboard when you're on the road, so that way you can still work and function. Universal docking stations still have some concerns from IT pros. There's hesitation on docking stations in general, and one of the biggest ones has to do with compatibility. So when we look at docking compatibility from a universal standpoint, that's something that Kensington really has to test against to ensure that the IT professionals are comfortable and confident in the solutions that they're deploying within their organizations. Kensington tests all of our docking stations against all of the laptop manufacturers. We have dedicated workbench space that gives us that ability to go through and configure our docks or test the configuration of our docks with HP or Dell or Asus or Acer or Toshiba, you name it. Kensington, from a universal standpoint, goes through to ensure that we have that full compatibility. Docking stations that are put out by OEMs, well, they're designed to work with their platforms and their platforms only. So how does that really benefit an organization that has multiple devices in place? It causes some stress and strain on the IT guy because now they have multiple platforms that they need to support. Also with the universal docking stations or docking in general even, you have end user training, end user concerns. How are end users going to connect to this? I think about this with a hoteling style solution. An end user is going to need to know how to adjust the displays and move the displays around between a universal docking station and from their laptop through the universal dock onto their screen. So IT pros have some concerns about, is my user base going to understand this? How are they going to be able to stay productive and continue to utilize the technology that has been given to them? Of course, we look at a couple other things: performance, durability, and cost. Just to touch on the cost piece of it, docking stations typically, when they're purchased, they're an investment that tie into into a refresh of hardware. And every time a new laptop is purchased or a refresh the device is purchased, normally a docking station goes along with that. So if you think about it, with a universal docking station that works across multiple platforms, once you buy that dock, you could refresh your hardware in 3 years, and that docking station will still be a viable solution. You don't have to worry about changing that docking station out because it has been tested and will work with the newer brand. Maybe your customer is switching from HP to Lenovo or from Lenovo to Dell, what have you. Having that universal solution in place means that they have a product that is in for the long haul. Because docking stations are in for that longer ride, performance is key, is crucial to the success of that IT manager, that IT professional. So with our docking stations, Kensington docks carry a 3-year warranty. So we have the performance and the durability aspects built into it. But should something happen, with the support that we're able to provide and the warranty that we have, we know that the customer will have an easier time or feel more comfortable with using a universal docking station because they have somebody that's going to back them up on that solution. When we look at the connectors in the marketplace, clearly from the data here from the survey, the proprietary OEM mechanical docks are still the number one docking station within organizations. But if you look at the way this trend line works, USB 3.0 docks are pretty close second, followed by USB-C and then Thunderbolt technology. When you think about this, the technology goes from oldest to newest. So it kind of makes sense that you're going to see those lower numbers on Thunderbolt versus a proprietary OEM mechanical dock. Thunderbolt's pretty new technology, and the speeds and the way that the technology works under that specification is just now starting to be adopted in a variety of devices. But when you think of the deployment of laptops now, the majority of devices that are still out there are going to require that older OEM mechanical dock. So we're seeing this trend line. Thunderbolt is starting to grow, and as a result of that, with Thunderbolt and USB-C growth, you'll start to see the OEM mechanical docks really start to decline. Matter of fact, if you look at some of the OEM docking stations that are being made today, they're pushing their own proprietary USB-C style docking station. So Dell has a solution out, HP has a solution out, and they've done away with that mechanical connector. That's in line with what they're doing with their laptops, of course. So the change to that USB-C is opening up a lot of different devices into the different manufacturers' hardware. Next 12 months, like I touched on, IT pros are seeing that universal docking is really going to grow. If we look at the proprietary docking station numbers, just from current year to a year from now, 12 months from now, we're seeing an 8% decline in proprietary docks, whereas on the third-party side, you're seeing a 4% increase. It's kind of crazy to think that just one change in connector, one shift in this is really starting to drive this growth. And we're starting to get to that point where we'll see an inflection point where universal docking stations will overtake that proprietary style solution. Within organizations, we know that companies are supporting a diverse environment. They have a variety of different devices that they have to support, whether it's a 2-in-1, maybe it's a Surface Pro or a Windows-based tablet, it could be a laptop or an Ultrabook. Of course, desktops are still pretty relevant in the business space too. Matter of fact, if you look at the percentages here, organizations out of our survey, 50% of their devices are still desktop computers. It's interesting though, because that number is really starting to grow. If you look at the rest of the details, you've got 37% laptops, 9% tablets, and then the 5% for the 2-in-1s or convertibles. With those numbers starting to rise, what we're seeing is that need for that docking station is really going to become more and more crucial to the success and productivity of an organization. It's not to say that desktop computers still don't have their space, but a lot of the trends that we see with organizations in order to attract new talent are providing options for their employees. What type of laptop do they want? Maybe one employee is more comfortable working on a MacBook Pro, or maybe somebody is better suited with an HP ZBook workstation. It just the options are there, and companies are providing this to ensure that their employees are happy. When you think about the variety of different devices too, there are also organizations that have a BYOD program in place where you can bring in whichever laptop you have as long as it meets certain specifications and it has certain pieces built into it, so that way a corporation can put their business image onto that device. With the blends and the mixes of all of these different devices, how do you ensure that all of those employees still stay connected? When you look at some of the trends into hot desking and hoteling, what happens if somebody else sits at a different location? How can they still connect to those peripherals? And that's the beauty of a universal docking station, is that it provides that connectivity. Like I said, organizations, they support a variety of different devices. And I was really impressed when I saw this number come through. 81% of organizations support more than one laptop brand. Here at Kensington, we're no different. We have a variety of different devices in our organization. We have Dell solutions, we have HP solutions, we have users that work on MacBooks, and with that diverse environment, again, how can you make sure that those employees stay productive and have connectivity to everything that they need? I know I've touched on this before, but the Thunderbolt 3 specification is an offshoot of the USB-C protocol. Thunderbolt 3 is the fastest spec that's available. Pushes data through at 40 gigabits per second, provides power delivery up to 100 watts. You can support dual 4K displays at 60 hertz. And think about daisy chaining devices together. You can connect an external hard drive or multiple displays through that USB-C Thunderbolt 3 configuration, up to 6 devices. So when you start to configure those through and have that fast data transfer speeds, having that universal connectivity is a beautiful thing, because now you know that you can run all of your peripherals and devices through one solution. And Thunderbolt 3, really, it's taking a strong hold in the laptop space. Look at the variety of laptops here that we've called out. The Dell 7000 Latitude series, or the XPS. On the Lenovo side, you have the ThinkPads and the Yogas that are Thunderbolt 3 equipped. Even on the HP side, the ZBook workstations or the EliteBook 800s or 1000s all have Thunderbolt 3 ports. So if you had a office or a customer that has these different devices in place, again, one universal solution will will work on all three of these, regardless of how they're configured, how they work out, because it all works off of the protocol. And I've mentioned this before, but hot desking or hoteling. Hot desking is, spaces or hot desking offices are really popular in Europe, and it's starting to take hold here in the US as well. You have an open space that employee can sit wherever they want during the day. Long gone are the days where we had a fixed spot where we had a desk that we called our own, where we could walk in and look at a picture of our family or our dog, or we had our own personal file space, or we could store our maybe product samples, or a space to call our own, right? What the research has shown is that by moving into a more collaborative space, people are more productive. Today, you may come into the office and need to work with your finance team on putting together some sort of an RFP, or maybe you need to work on a collateral piece with your marketing folks. Tomorrow, you come in and no, it's a different day. You have different tasks at hand. So maybe you're working with a product manager, or you need to handle some other tasks with a different group of folks. You have the ability to do that in an open space, in a hot desking style organization. The huddle spaces that are developed are meant for quick 10, 15-minute meetings. You have conference rooms that are going by the wayside because you just don't need that space anymore. You're not blocking out an hour's worth of time. And think about it too, with the open space concepts, the money that an organization saves by doing that, or by moving into that scenario, it helps to reduce their overall footprint. They don't need the same amount of space to house their employees, because maybe employees are more mobile, or think about employees that are on vacation or out sick. On average, at any given time, office is only about 80% occupied because of everybody else out doing other things. So if you can reduce your overall footprint, your corporate real estate teams are loving it, because now they can downsize that office a bit. They don't need as much space. Employees are still as productive as they were before, sometimes even more so, because as the mobile employee, the nomadic road warrior, is out and about, you don't have to have that dedicated space, that dedicated area to provide them for them to perform their jobs. They're doing it already while they're out and about. Interestingly enough, the IT pros that were part of the survey, less than 20% of the companies surveyed have a hot desk or a hoteling style environment configured within their organization, but they see it as a growing trend. For the same reasons I just cited, it's something that is really starting to take hold. And here at Kensington and some of the other organizations that I've been to, that I've visited, we have some form or fashion of an open space or an open concept. We have huddle areas and phone rooms for private conversations, but it's not uncommon here in the office for a colleague to poke their head up and lean over a wall and say, "Hey, I need help with XYZ," or can I talk to you for a few minutes? And we pull into an open space to maybe review a product, or do some sharing of information, some results of maybe a customer meeting or a conference call that we were a part of. We don't see that meetings are being set as frequently as they used to. They still have their place, of course, but now it's this more real-time sharing of information versus scheduling out time and blocking out time. Of course, the other aspect here when it comes to buying docking stations is the purchasing criteria. I love this quote too. This IT professional basically wants a box that can support anything and everything. It's flexible, that they can attach to any kind of machine, whether it's a Toshiba or a Dell or an HP, has all of the ports that are needed for that productivity aspect of it, can connect to different monitors, 4K devices, non-4K devices. It's a desirable product, and universal docking stations help to provide that. whether it is a 4K device that needs to be supported, or having those older style USB-A ports built in for connections of thumb drives or mice, etc. Universal docking stations do supply that. Top 5 factors when purchasing a new docking station. The number one concern for our IT pros is compatibility. Again, is it going to work on my Dell product? Is it going to work on my MacBooks? Is it going to work on my Samsung laptop? And the answer is yes. They do have the ability to connect to all of those devices. If you think about it, IT pros back in the day used to run with 1, 2, maybe 3 models of devices throughout a whole organization. It would take them 40 plus hours to build an image, and then they had to develop that image and get that loaded onto all of their hardware. And the amount of time and work that it took, it meant that they would standardize on that particular model for at least 18 months, because they just didn't have the time and the resources to put into building a new image. So with the changes in Windows 10 and the ability to easily move an image from device to device, regardless of brand or type of laptop, that's really opening up some doors into organizations to buy different hardware. So you're seeing that mixed, diverse blend of laptops in organizations, and IT guys have an easier time of doing it. So when they have a universal docking station, they also have an easier time of managing what's deployed, because they know they don't have to worry about the docking station piece of it. It's the same, it's going to work the same regardless of what's connected into it. If there's a hardware issue, we can go right to the source and troubleshoot the laptop, or try and track down other pieces of it, because we know that it's not a docking station compatibility issue. Looking at other factors, pricing, of course, always a concern. Making sure that cost savings are realized whenever and wherever possible. And again, like I called out earlier, you have savings in the universal docking station right out of the gate, but it really comes down to that second refresh as well, where you're saving even more money because you're not buying a new dock when you refresh hardware or when you have to replace a device. You don't have to change out that docking station again. Video output options are definitely another concern. Really close to number 2 there in that third spot. Monitors change, but monitors seem to last a lot longer than what the laptops do. So you'll still see monitors with VGA connections or DVI connections. It's not uncommon to have devices that will connect via HDMI or DisplayPort. So you get this mixture of devices. So is my docking station going to support the variety of monitors that I have? And if not, what's needed so that way I can still use that hardware, which is still perfectly fine? Am I going to need to change a cable out? Maybe I need a DVI to HDMI cable, or maybe I need some sort of an adapter to connect my existing displays into a docking station, or what pieces will I need to make sure that they still remain functional? And then looking at numbers 4 and 5 here, of course, the feature set specifications and the connector types. How does it connect to my laptop? Is it connecting via USB-C? Is it connecting via USB-A, older USB-A technology? Of course, there's docking stations for that. Does it utilize the Thunderbolt 3 protocol? So all of these things really factor into an IT buyer's decision when they make their docking station purchases. One of the other great things too is that we've uncovered when it does come time to make that purchase, who do IT pros like buying through? They would rather buy through a reseller than direct from the laptop manufacturer. Our reseller partners are great because they have access to a wide variety of products. They can cover everything that's needed within an organization. Not to say that an OEM doesn't have the necessary technology to help support the business. They just don't have everything that is needed. So by purchasing through a reseller, they know that they're going to receive consistent support. They know that they're going to be able to purchase whatever they may need, as opposed to having to track it down through multiple sources. So their preference is to buy through any of our reseller partners. And with the docking stations, still holds true there. The way that our reseller partners can bundle multiple solutions into one piece makes it that one-stop shop for IT professionals. So definitely a nice piece of information that we saw that came out of this research study. So with that, just a quick recap. We're seeing workers that are becoming more and more mobile, and they're relying more heavily on docking stations because they need to ensure that they're connected to their productivity tools, that they have the access to perform the tasks that they have while they're in office. Manufacturers, companies, organizations still are utilizing those proprietary OEM docks, but we're really seeing that shift. We're seeing that trend down from the proprietary dock and trend up on the universal USB-C Thunderbolt 3 docking stations. I talked about this earlier. We're getting to that time where we're starting to see that inflection point where universal connectivity is going to surpass that proprietary docking station connectivity when it comes time to purchase new hardware. Doesn't mean that there isn't older mechanical docks still out there and there isn't still a need for them, but as companies refresh their tech, they definitely have a need for this. So the numbers are definitely on the rise. Compatibility issues, again, making sure that the universal docking station is compatible with the hardware that organizations deploy is important now more than ever, because they don't have time. The business is moving so much faster. So making sure that they have the right technology that supports multiple platforms is extremely important. So appreciate your time today, folks. Hope to have kept this a little bit short for you, and I know everybody's busy with their schedules. I invite you to take a look at the handout section and pull down the trend report. You can take a look at all of the information that was contained in the survey that we conducted in conjunction with SpiceWorks. And of course, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Reach me at docguy@kensington.com or any of the other email addresses here on the screen or phone numbers. So again, thank you for your time today.